The front door of the house is made of glass and it's very dusty. As soon as we enter, you can see that everything is covered in dust. There are cobwebs everywhere, but not one single sign of forced entry or any signs of a struggle. Hi, I'm here to solve mysteries, and this is the most mysterious house I've ever seen. The last people who lived here vanished without a trace, and they left behind some really strange clues. Let's start from the beginning. This is the only house on this street that hasn't been demolished for new condos. The realtor came back to see the progress of the clean-out, and he saw something crazy. It looks like these files may have belonged to a doctor who worked at a hospital just a few blocks away. But who were these people? They bought the home in 1966 and had 2 kids named Danny and Donna. And here she is on her first day of school in 1970. And then there's Danny. This is him with his dad. And look at this picture of Danny's report card. It's dated December of 1972. John was an engineer and Mary Ellen was a registered nurse. Did they run off together and leave the kids behind? Well, we checked the house next door and spoke to their neighbors. They told us that they never saw John and Mary Ellen argue. In fact, they always seemed like a happy family. Who were living in this house? Well, let's go check on them. We found Donna's diary in her room, but the question still remained. Where were their parents? We heard a loud crash as we entered, and there was the mother. Well, we went through their personal belongings to see if we could find out why. She had fallen off the ladder, and then right beside her was the father. He had taken his own life. It said, "You need to come see me ASAP, I have bad news. The hospital is in big trouble. They want to cover it up, but I won't allow it." What could the hospital possibly be hiding? And that's when it hit me. We went down into the basement, and that's when we found it. The original operating room from the hospital. She had written about how she wished her brother would stop bugging her so much. It looks like John was trying to expose whatever it was that was going on at the hospital. But what was it? It looks like they were part of the experiment. But why? It said that Danny had always been jealous of her because she was the baby. It said today was the first day of the experiment. John and I were both given powerful drugs. They said that it would help us. I hope they're right. If it doesn't work, they'll have to lobotomize our children. All of the walls were covered in newspapers from 1972. Some of them even had circular holes cut out of them. Well, the answer was hidden in plain sight. The back window in Donna's room opens onto a fire escape. And what do we find down there? A secret passageway. It turns out that Willow Creek Hospital was shut down in the early 1970s after it was discovered that doctors were performing unethical experiments on their patients. Patients were given massive doses of LSD and then locked in padded rooms with no human contact. Well, we searched their home to see if we could find any evidence. We found these photos of John and Mary Ellen being injected with a substance. It was pitch black, and the air was getting colder and colder. It said that Danny had been acting different lately, that he would come up to her while she was sleeping and try to kiss her. I turned on my flashlight and there's what appears to be human remains. I quickly called the police and they sent over a forensic team. And then under that she wrote, "Danny is a monster. These keys don't open any of the locks in the house." So where did they go? We noticed that all of the window screens were removed and that gave us a clue. And that's when things got really creepy. In 2006, a realtor took over the property after the previous owner passed away. He wanted to put the house up for sale, but he needed to clear out the house first. So he called in a professional cleaner. There are dozens of frozen pizzas in the freezer, boxes of Girl Scout cookies on the counters, and old milk cartons in the fridge. And not one single thing had gone bad. Even their Christmas decorations were still up. And that's when all of this was discovered. I'm gonna show you inside right now. It's like stepping back in time. Everything's completely frozen in place. And then there's the food. And then in the living room, there were these weird holes in the walls that looked like bullet holes. And there were these circular marks on the carpet. I don't know about you, but that is pretty freaky. We went through the filing cabinet and found all of these medical documents with names blacked out. We found their names carved into the banister of the staircase. They were John and Mary Ellen. In fact, we found this baby announcement for Donna in the 1968 newspaper. So why would they suddenly leave their house in the middle of the night? It's a shame what happened to these kids. They must have been so scared. But as we read further, it got darker. We found this drawing that Donna did for Danny. It says, "Dear Danny, I will never be your girlfriend." There was also a set of keys in Donna's room. All of these windows are set into the sills, so if you remove the screen, you can open it from the inside and climb out. This goes down into the basement. It's probably where they escaped from. I wonder if they're alive. We continued going down the tunnel, and then I felt something. After hours of searching, they were able to confirm that the bones belonged to 2 young children. This was so sad. Well, it turns out they were in the attic. So why did they do this? Was it to protect their kids? We found a stack of letters from a lawyer and we opened one up. John's side of the desk was covered in research about sick children and illnesses. Well, we found this document that said Willow Creek Hospital was putting patients on experimental drug trials without telling their families. The hospital is now a luxury condo building, so I went to the condo association to ask them for the building's blueprints. I immediately called the police and they started digging into the hospital's history. One of those experiments was Operation Long-Term Care, which tested the effects of total isolation on the human body. Was this what happened to the residents of the house? They also had these strange devices in their home that monitored brain waves. Well, we found the answer in this diary entry, so they volunteered for the experiment to protect their kids. But why did they kill themselves? We found this document in their personal effects. It said that the experiment had failed and that both John and Mary Ellen suffered from severe brain damage. So, in the end, they chose to end their own lives instead of living like that. What a sad story. If you liked this video, make sure to check out another one. See you next time.